Homework 10, Installment Buying, Video 2. Let's take a look at an example of an installment plan. A man purchases a used car for $7,000. He made a 15% down payment. The finance charge is 8% of the amount financed. I just realized I need to switch the order of two of these. We'll do that in a moment. He paid the balance over 12 months. This looks like a lot of steps, but they're all kind of related to each other. For the first part, we're going to calculate the down payment, and then we're going to calculate, for the second part, the amount financed. For the third part, we're going to calculate the finance charge. After we calculate the finance charge, we're going to calculate the monthly payment, and then finally, the total installment price. Individually, these aren't difficult. It's just knowing what question you're attempting to answer on each one. For example, on part A, we want to calculate the down payment. What do we know about the down payment? It's 15%. 15% of what? 15% of the purchase price. So all we have to do is figure out 15% of 7,000. When we did the video over percents and basic percent problems, I showed you a gimmick for setting up a box that you could use to calculate a percent of a number. So we could rewrite this as 15% of 7,000 is what? I'm kicking myself now for not also showing you how to do these without a box. But in general, to do this without the box and just do it as an algebra problem, you simply translate the word of to multiplication and the word is to equals. And then wherever the missing part is, you put a variable and then solve for that variable. But to be consistent, let's do it with the box that we saw before, where we would put the is number over the of number, and we would put the percent over 100. And it doesn't really matter which column is which, because we're going to cross multiply either way. So our percent is 15 over 100. Our of number is 7,000. We don't know the is number, so I'm going to put an X there. Excuse me, this should be 100, not 1,000. And remember, what we do is cross multiply, set the products equal, and then solve. This diagonal is 100 times X. This diagonal is 7,000 times 15. I know it ends in 3 zeros. I just need to figure 7 times 15. 7 times 15 is 105. So that cross product is 105,000. And then to solve for X, we just divide by 100. 105,000 divided by 100 is 1,050. And remember, this was the dollar amount. So 15% of 7,000 is $1,050. This is how much he's paying up front. Okay. Part B. Calculate the amount financed. Remember that the amount financed is the total price, or the price of the item, I should say. How much the thing cost minus the down payment. Or equivalently, how much I still owe you for this item. The car cost $7,000 and the down payment was $1,050. So if we subtract those two, it looks like we'll get $5,950. That's the amount I'm going to have to finance. That's the amount that I still owe after the down payment. Let's calculate the finance charge. Now, in the previous video, I mentioned that one formula for the finance charge, or rather the definition, is how much extra you pay for your item. side of the $7,000, I'm going to pay more than that. The extra is the finance charge. But sometimes you have to know the finance charge in advance, and the finance charge is usually some percent of what you're financing. So our finance charge is 8% of the amount financed, so we need to answer the question, 8% of $5,950 is what? It's not 8% of $7,000. We shouldn't have to pay a charge for the money that we're not borrowing. We're paying that up front. So we can set up the same approach. We don't know the is number, so that's going to be my x. The of number is 5,950. The percent is 8, and that will always go over 100. I'm going to spare you the details. If we were to cross multiply and solve, basically we would be doing 8 times 5,950 and dividing that by 100. And it is $476. That's how much extra I'm paying for the privilege of paying this out over a year. Almost as if I were borrowing the money from the seller and then repaying it back. So now that we know the finance charge, we can calculate the monthly payment. Now, I didn't give a formula for the monthly payment before, and if you give me 1 second, I'm going to write what we've just done here for our answers. Down payment was $1,050. The amount financed was the difference between the cost and the down payment, so $5,950 was the amount financed. The finance charge was $476. But I'm going to write these down because I need more space, and I don't want to write down I don't want to erase the question. All right. So how do we figure out the monthly payment? Well, it's pretty straightforward. How much do I still owe you? Divided by how many payments I'm going to make. So it's almost more of a concept than a formula. But if you really wanted a formula for it, for the monthly payment, let's think about it. What do I still owe? I still owe the amount financed. So amount financed. That's not all I owe. I also owe you the finance charge, the charge for the privilege of paying this out over 12 months. I don't owe you the down payment, I've already paid it. I still owe you those two things, and I'm going to pay them out over 12 months, so we have to divide it by the number of payments, or the number of months. Again, conceptually, it's pretty straightforward. What do I still owe you? Let me divide it by how many payments I'm going to make. I still owe you the $5,950 after the down payment. And I have agreed to pay this extra finance charge of $476. And we're going to take that total and spread it out over 12 months. So if we add the top, we get $6,426 divided by 12. Pretty sure this is going to come out to be I was going to say it's going to come out to be a repeating decimal, but it's not. It's 535.5. Exactly, no rounding necessary. But this is a dollar amount, and as such, we should always write it to 2 decimal places. Rounding if necessary. In this case, it's not necessary. I will pay you $535.50 a month for 12 months, in addition to the down payment that I made. But again, the concept for monthly payment is pretty straightforward. What do I still owe you, both in terms of the amount I'm borrowing, plus the extra I'm going to pay for the privilege of borrowing it, and then we'll just divide that by however many payments. So what's the total installment price? There's actually a couple of ways to think about it. In the previous video, one of the formulas for a total installment price was the sum of all the payments plus the down payment. Let me write down the monthly payment here. So we could say, I am paying you 12 monthly payments of this. So we could say 12 times $535.50 plus I paid you $1,050 as a down payment. So that's the total I am paying for this $7,000 car. And let's see how much that is. $7,476. But some of you might be thinking that's not the only way to figure out the total that I paid. Because I can figure out the total that I paid by just figuring out the total that I owe you. So in other words, I could calculate total installment price by simply adding the price of the item plus the finance charge. And if you'll notice, that's exactly what we got here. Because I just bought a $7,000 car and agreed to pay an extra $476 for the privilege of paying it out over 12 months, the sum of which is $7,476. So on these problems, as you're doing them, try not to get too hung up on what's the formula for this or what's the formula for that. I would focus more on the idea and some common sense, such as total installment price is everything I'm going to pay you. Okay, all my monthly payments plus the down payment, but everything I'm going to pay you should match everything that I owe you. I owe you the price of the item plus the finance charge. So either one will get the job done. We'll take a look at another example in the next video.